Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to Shenmue Dojo video. Today's video I'm going to be looking at whether RYO will actually take down Landy in the Shenmue series, or whether there are further things at play which mean that he doesn't for whatever reason. Now, we all know this is probably one of, if not the biggest unresolved storyline in the Shenmue series. There is a belief around probably quite a substantial amount of the fan base that RYO will defeat Landy, and that's sort of the main premise of the Shenmue series. As we sort of know and sort of seen in various bits of content, various releases over the years, there seems to be a little bit more at play. And if you think of the end of Shenmue 3, which I'll come on to in a little bit, it seems to suggest that the whole objective of RYO taking down Landy may only play into a much smaller objective in terms of the wider story of this Shenmue series itself. So I'll have a quick look at the for and the against, and then summarise where I think the story will probably sort of go as we go into Shenmue 4 and Shenmue 5. So the argument for, going back to the GDC discussion from 2014, we saw the slides around how the story was being structured when it was called Legend of Akira, obviously then moved into Shenmue. And part of that, it shows that essentially RYO is going on this journey, which I will put up on the screen for you right now. So this journey is essentially one of sadness, so that's the introduction section, departure, which is development, fight, which is denouement, and then conclusion, which is starting afresh. So, and in that slide here that's in front of you, you can see it breaks it down to very much the segments of the Shenmue game so far. So Shenmue 1 is very much set around the loss of the father and the setbacks. Shenmue 2 is around sort of overcoming that grief and travelling to China. I would anticipate we're in denouement, the fight section. So the battle with, he's called Randy there, but it's Landy, obviously. And it says victory here, which is very important. And then conclusion, where RYO Akira loses purpose and begins a new journey. So looking at this slide, it suggests quite obviously that it was at least planned, and whether the story is still leaning that way, that RYO or Akira back then would take down Landy, which in the grand scheme of what I think the storyline is for what was Virtua Fighter RPG into Shenmue at that point in time, does make a lot of sense. However, there's more at play here in terms of the Shenmue series, which I will come on to very, very shortly. The second sort of argument, I guess, for is if you look at the first fight that RYO had in the dojo, he got absolutely mutilated within seconds. The second fight in Shenmue 3, he is noted that he's improved, but again gets taken down fairly easily. And now he's blinded by this push for revenge and hatred. And essentially this fight was only ever going to end one way, that RYO was going to end up getting defeated. Now Ren obviously saves him, but there seems to be more at play here. It almost seems like it's gathered up that he is going to fight Landy again at some point in the next Shenmue games, be it Shenmue 4 or Shenmue 5. But my thought on this is that he will eventually learn the skills to defeat him, but then almost pull back, that he doesn't go down that same path of revenge as Landy has done and people before him, and that he gets essentially a second chance to redeem himself, and RYO almost is as part of his character development, just sort of notices that cycle of vengeance through whatever's gone on before, what's coming up later on, and he essentially pulls back of it. Also bear in mind that Landy is one of 4 leaders. We also now know there's sort of a chief of staff among that, and you've got Tentei at the top of the chain here. So he could be one of several people that he has to defeat in order to sort of break this wider story open. So it almost seems like it's set for them to face off again. But there's arguments against it as well. Now, I've said this many times about Shenmue 3, and I know there was frustration that we didn't even land a hit on Landy in Shenmue 3, but RYO is miles away from Landy and his ability. Let's put this bluntly. If he can't hit Ewing, he can't hit Grandmaster Bay, how the hell is he going to hit Landy? Let's be honest about it here. He's not even close. He has shown improvement, and Landy acknowledges that, but he's not even close. So in order to face off against Landy again, surely he's going to need to show improvement. Now, you could obviously time skip it, which isn't uncommon in media, but is the story set up that way with RYO losing the mirror that's going to allow for a time skip, or is it going to come on later after, for the Cliff Temple or something like that? There's some sort of build up to a point where then there's a time skip. Who knows? But it may not make sense, certainly in the immediate story. Maybe later on, we don't know, that RYO fights Landy again. Because if he fights him again in the immediate story, without any sort of time gap between it, he's going to lose again. There's no two ways about it. Landy, as I said, is levels and levels above him. So it would make no sense from a story perspective without some sort of time skip. But there also seems to be a much bigger story at play here. When you think to the ending of Shenmue 3, you obviously have that Niao-san has burned down the castle, she has tried to kill Landy, and there seems to be this infighting within the Chiyu men, bearing in mind at this point in time it's still scheduled for these 4 leaders, plus the Chief of Staff, plus Tente. So what's going on there? Who has given Niao-san the okay to do that? Is Tente involved? Is she gone rogue? We don't know. But there seems to be a bigger story at play here with the infighting the workers of the Chiyu men. I expect RYO's story is going to fill into that more than just facing off against Landy. Now, it could happen, obviously, as I keep saying. But there's an argument against it that actually Landy isn't the problem. There's bigger issues at play here with the Chiyu men that RYO will need to address over Landy, and he will have to let that go in order to address the other issues, leaders that are there. Then you have the prophecy. Now it talks about very, very much that RYO will have the power to achieve his will, or it will destroy him. Now that, yeah, it could be obviously magical power. I don't think it is. I think it's more down to his ability to control his emotions, to control where he is, and let that desire for revenge subside, so then it feeds into the wider issue of this prophecy and fulfilling it, rather than himself being destroyed by whatever's driving him at that point in time. It, like I say, might take RYO away from this whole vengeance angle, but at the same time it could push him further towards it in the initial aspect and give him a point of time where he has to make a choice. Does he take down Landy and go after him? Or does he go after the bigger things that are at play within the story? Now, that could be anything. That could be saving Ren and Shenhua, for example. It could be taking down one of the Chi men leaders who are much more of an immediate threat. RYO's going to have to make a choice at some point in this story to either chase vengeance or chase something bigger and much more important at play. Now, there is also sort of linked to that, I guess, a slightly, I say a fan theory, it's been talked about for years, that they could actually end up teaming up to take down whatever this bigger threat is. So if you can imagine that Niao-san has actually acted on Tente's orders, for example, to kill Landy, that then gives RYO and Landy a common goal, which is to take down Niao-san and the rest, potentially the rest of the Chiyu men. So they could theoretically team up, they could start working through the Chiyu men and the wider story at play here. And then Landy might have his redemption arc through that way as well. But again, it means they may not face off, but there could be another little angle at play there as well. Obviously, we'd be excited to see this happen in Shenmue 4 and Shenmue 5. But guys, what do you think around Landy? Are we A, going to face off with him again? And B, will RYO take him down? Drop us a comment below, guys, and let me know. On the just as a little side note, guys, on the 4th of every month, we are tweeting hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4, hashtag Shenmue, hashtag Shenmue Anime 2. We obviously tweet at one time at the same time every month. All the details are in previous videos, but will be included in the description below. Don't forget to give us a like, share, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the usual places. And if you want to be a member for just £2 a month, you get all videos ahead of time, but nothing is locked behind a paywall. It helps James and I run the website. But for now, guys, thank you very much for dropping in on this new video. Have a good rest of the day, and I will catch you all soon. See you later, guys. Take care.